A hardcover.
I'm glad I took my white shirt, or whitish shirt, the whitest one I have, to contrast with the black behind me. You guys look good.
Is it intentional?
Weird? Yeah, of course it's intentional now. But weekly comics and stuff. Cool.
It's...
It is the Sidekick Weekly Poll.
Just trying to get by to the next fix, living between Wednesdays. Prefer the comics over the Netflix, living between Wednesdays. The first John Romita Spidey
Comics came to our faces again.
They did, yeah. Good old comic books shipping out on the weekly. We got some new books.
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday,
Yeah.
for all you know.
And they're in frame now.
This is pretty exciting.
Wow.
We're just ever slightly editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll only ever get better. So when you see us and we're terrible, that's an older episode.
Yeah, the more facial hair I have, the older the video.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
frame
don't
of
know
reference.
if it's gonna go the other way soon.
But yeah, it went like from beard, goatee, mustache to nothing, and now it'll go back at some point.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a good metric.
Right
Yeah.
now. It is.
I don't cut my hair, so if it's really long, it's later on. Let's go with that.
Sidekick Weekly Poll!
Whoa!
So we got single issues, we got trades, we got restock, but that's old news.
Our website now has a restock section, so if you are curious about what we've restocked, you can go to www.thesidekickcomics.com and hit recently restocked.
I know we got some shop favorites like the Hellboy omnibuses or omnibuy. I always say omnibuy. I assume
Yeah,
it's
well-
Omnibuses doesn't feel right.
Buses.
makes me think of like omnibuses.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go Omnibuy.
Headlopper Volume 1, lots of favorites. Go to our website and look at our great books.
Look at great books. But also, we got new great books.
New great books. Books that nobody has read before.
Yes.
Exciting.
What's your favorite thing you put in your face, Harrison?
My favorite thing I put in my face this week is undoubtedly Daniel Warren Johnson's Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Honestly, Ludocrats is a close second. Because Ludocrats is just...
Yeah, so we got issue 1 of Ludocrats last week, and we immediately this week got issue 2.
That's
so
Ludocrats.
I know!
Rats.
It's weird COVID shipping things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for them that they
yeah.
got it completed, and then they're just like turning out the single issues.
Yeah.
Because it's a fun book.
It's so weird. It's...
I feel like that, with a month gap, you'd kind of forget what was happening too. So
Yeah.
I think it's to the advantage of the title.
My favorite, just like out of context quote here that I had to send to my friends.
Yes.
Just what am I getting into when I pick up this book, Ludocrats, you may ask? Things like, neither anally, orally, nor urethrally may we safely enter this beast.
Oh.
It's true.
I mean, that's considerate.
If you followed us talking about it last week, this week follows up with them trying to save this steam train woman judge that the main character's in love with from her prison, which is like a giant living worm demon thing that is literally the final boss god, the old one out of Demon Souls. It's the exact same design.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this.
Yeah,
This
it's.
was
I
all
mean,
new
I
to
don't
me.
know if it's purposely or not because they're both just kind of like giant worms with spiky mouth holes. So
So
definitely not the most unique thing in the world. But my friends and I were just playing through this game, and then I saw pictures of this worm, so I sent them the pictures. Oh, look, it's the old one.
makes sense to me.
But yeah, it's just fucking wacky. I don't know how to describe it beyond it just being weird and strange and filled with made-up words and just fantastical.
If you like silly dialogue and like a weird sort of like worm heist,
Yeah,
it's great.
it's so dang fun, and I laughed so much.
Yes.
But also Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Yes.
Um,
Which we have been following since it started coming out, I guess. Jeez.
Oh, God.
I don't know, it started sometime last year.
Yeah, 2019, late-ish. I would say this is going up. But it's COVID. It's not because of...
Like around Christmas time, maybe?
Before that.
October?
Well, because we had
If it's-
two come
if
out
it's
before,
quarterly.
right? Yeah.
And the last issue comes out in October. It is possible that this came out in October of 2019.
Wow.
That makes sense.
I feel
1 year.
old. Jeez.
I have aged a ton since then.
I mean,
I've seen things.
Sorry, I feel like that's mostly my fault. That.
You didn't cause COVID unless there's
Ah,
something I
that's
don't
true.
know.
Well,
I
don't
told you to
really-
stay away from those bat markets, Jay.
Yeah,
I
they're
told you.
delicious. Me and Ozzy were like, let's go get a snack.
I think everyone here at the Sidekick, we're all pretty big fans of Daniel Warren Johnson and
It's
basically
true.
anything he makes. He obviously, like, is a man who's very passionate about making his things the way he wants to make them.
And now he wants to make a Wonder Woman book in post-apocalyptic Earth crawling with monsters.
I don't care about Wonder Woman. And personally, I'm a little like post-apocalyptic stuff is very oversaturated right now. There's so much of it.
There's so much of it.
But goddamn, I love this book. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so like DC's pumping out all these like, oh, it's this timeline and the world's ending and this
Or
guy's
it's
in
this
charge
Joker
and this
thing.
guy's and I just don't care because it's all connected to stuff I don't care about. And like, granted, I know I'm not the target audience in these cases because I haven't read all these events that you need to have read to tie into this. But this is just such a strong, self-contained character story, which I'd be really interested in talking to like a die-hard Wonder Woman fan who reads every Wonder Woman comic,
Yeah.
who's then reading this. I
It's
would
true.
really be really interested in
Are
hearing
you
that
out
perspective.
there? Do you exist?
But I don't think it's true.
Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe.
No, but let us know if you are that person because we'd like to talk to you.
Seriously, yeah. But I just love it. For me, it's so evocative of her character and the strong person who's not human, but who still identifies so much with humanity and wants to be good for them.
Like, I feel like the mission statement and spirit of Wonder Woman isn't compromised. I don't think it pulls, that's happened to other characters where, like, I don't think that character would ever do this, but now he's in space.
Yeah.
And a Ghost Rider.
Venom Space Knight. But yeah, it's just so good.
And so pretty.
It's-
Like, the big format really lends itself to his artwork, which is, like, kinetic and filled with detail and, like, has a lot going on both structurally and with everyone's, like, caricature. I really, really love it.
The kinetics and the onomatopoeia of Daniel
Yes.
Warren Johnson's. I've always really respected how good he is at putting that stuff across. And there's a big superhero fight in this one where this big superhero fights this big superhero, and usually I'm really bored of those because they sky punch each other a few times and then they make up their differences and they team up and save the day. But
Consequences.
man, I just enjoyed each panel of this superhero fight so much. There's so much weight. The little booms and the
It looks
pows,
great.
and his is that
motion-
the word onomatopoeia for when you have the pows?
Yeah. But there's motion
So
blurs in the onomatopoeias and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like the impact and weight of these, like, demigods are pretty prevalent.
He posted a commission sketch recently of the Juggernaut ripping someone in half,
Yeah.
and saying like the ripping sound is also ripping, and it's just so dang good.
He did a Cowboy Bebop garage, which I thought was amazing recently in one of his sketches. Like, I think it was a commission, but like he did like so Spike is walking away from his Spike plane. I forget what it was called, but it's all like grimy and dusty and like like everything's very lived in and used, and I'm just like, God damn. That Netflix show is probably gonna be bad.
I mean, yeah.
It looks too clean.
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen. I know they want to make a good show, but it's so hard to.
It's a tough sell.
Cowboy Bebop's so good. You haven't watched it yet, have you?
I haven't yet.
No, for the Harrison and Jason ramble about an anime.
That'll be part 2. Those were the things I really, really enjoyed, unironically, this week. Also,
Ooh.
I feel like I took all the juicy stuff.
No, you didn't. Not for me. Sorry.
Death metal.
We're gonna talk about
We're gonna get to that one.
for people who are reading DC stuff, right before COVID, we got Strange Adventures #1.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So this week we got Strange Adventures #2. I was really, really excited. to read this. I'm not invested in the main character at all. I don't know anything about it. I feel the same way I felt about Mr. Miracle in that I did not know who Mr. Miracle was and do not read a ton of DC stuff. But it similarly does a great job of character setup, so you don't have to know anything going in, which I really, really appreciate about these sort of like DC maxi series, like 12-issue runs, because they did one with Martian Manhunter as well, where you didn't have to know where the character comes from. They kind of build that into this specific moment in the character's history, like this is where they're coming from, this is where they're going, this is what the problem is. We're going to hopefully resolve it in 12 issues. And I really appreciate that. The art is very good. And in this one, we're trying to figure out if his origin story is true. And it's being investigated by sort of another character in DC lore who's like lesser known.
So we do know... I have no idea who that guy is, even by the end of it. I was like, is this an established character?
Yes.
He is?
Oh,
Okay.
that's Mr. Terrific or something.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, so at the end of issue 1, Batman refuses to investigate this case, but instead it's given to Mr. Terrific.
Is it Mr. Terrific?
Yeah.
Okay. I always like that
who,
character.
Again, I don't know much about. I don't read a ton of DC books.
He was in Justice League Unlimited for a while.
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Well,
seen
look
him
him
a
up.
couple times, but that's all I know. And the way they set him up in this issue 2 is very good. I appreciate how he's answering sort of like obscure seeming trivia, but how that like pertains to sort of reading the origin story and deciding how he's going to interrogate him and whether or not he feels he's guilty.
Okay. I failed to make that connection. So
It requires a lot of like weird
my thoughts
detail
reading this
reading.
was like, what an interesting way to set up this character. Also, at least 50% of this entire issue is this robot asking a question and him answering it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't love personally. I
I
felt like
liked it because it was allegorical.
I should read it again because I did not make a connection between the questions being asked and then the flashing to what Adam Strange is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was just like half of this book is trivia, and the other half is things that are actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I was like, do this for a page or two. Then I get that this is a smart guy, and then let's do things.
It's not really. It is and it isn't about his intelligence.
Because that's what if they did that for a page or two, I would have got that this is a smart guy.
Yeah, but that's not what it's really that's not what it's actually saying.
Yeah.
The art's great though.
The art is beautiful.
And that is a damn near perfect Batman.
Yeah.
Anytime
The
Batman
Batman's
shows in
great.
this
Yeah,
book,
the art,
that,
the art is,
that
art
is
is great.
the quintessential look of Batman.
I'm very excited because it seems like issue 3 we're really gonna get to like the guts of
I hope
the
so.
story. Like,
I think Tom King, I draw a parallel with Jeff Lemire, whereas I prefer to read their stuff in trade. Just to
Yeah.
me, this stuff. Also, my Strange Adventures experience is also largely affected by the fact that I read the first issue 3 to 4 months ago. And I am the first to admit that my memory in stories for lapses like that is shit. So
I mean, yeah, this series is going to be weakened by the fact that there is this enormous gap
yeah.
between issue 1 and 2, and that has nothing to do with like the artists or the writers. It has everything to do with our quarantine.
But so far, I feel the same reading this as I did when I was reading Mr. Miracle, which is that I feel confused and lost and that I'm missing stuff. And then people tell me, no, like this is a first story. You don't need to know anything. And then I read it and I'm like, I still feel like I'm missing shit.
Really?
Now, honestly,
interesting.
it frustrates me a little bit because I feel like because everybody says, no, it's great. It gives you everything you need. And then I read it. I'm like, I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. I'm like, what's missing?
Oh,
But yeah,
no.
Mr. Miracle did so little for me. I want to give it another shot because I am very much the minority there. But I read it and I'm like, I feel like since I didn't read all of Mr. Miracle's 80s stuff, that this I don't care.
Oh no. I didn't feel that way at all.
So I want to give it another honest shot, but like the whole Tom King thing, like I'm just because I like some of his stuff. Some of his stuff I think is a little overhyped.
Didn't he sweep the Eisners like a year ago? It wasn't like every.
I know his Batman
anything
and
he was
Elmer
nominated
Fudd
for,
one shot is literary genius.
Well, I think he swept. I think anything he was nominated for, he won.
Personally, I don't understand the Batman stuff, like the regular run, because he's responsible for like the wedding, which I have a lot of problems with.
I like Kite Man.
Oh, he did the wedding?
Yeah, we could have just an episode about why I feel like the wedding is one of the worst things to happen to comics in the last 5 years.
In regards of story or regards of business comic book industry? Or both?
It's both for me. It's both.
Interesting.
It's the example of the worst parts of being a comic book fan, to me.
Yeah.
Tisk Tom King.
But he did also, in the War of Jokes and Riddles arc, develop Kite Man quite a bit.
You're
don't
redeemed.
Get me started about Kite Man.
You don't like Kite Man?
We're watching the Harley Quinn animated show.
I haven't watched it yet. Is he in it?
He's engaged to Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn is in love with Poison Ivy. A much sexier, cooler version of a romance is definitely Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn.
They go on her bachelorette party.
I'm gonna watch it too, so I don't really want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I always say that, and then like 6 months later, I'm like, sorry, I still don't watch.
But like,
How are you actually gonna do it though?
Kite Man shows up and he's like he says "za" and "bra" and stuff, and like he's kind of an idiot, but it turns out he has like a heart of gold, and he does want to like do well for people. And that was I don't know. He won me over. He's also hilarious.
I know you're going for it, but I don't agree.
He was doing jigsaw puzzles with King Shark and Clayface.
I love King Shark though. It's not fair to dangle that carrot.
You know, I'm just saying. Poison Ivy didn't care. Where was she doing? She wasn't playing.
No, because she's too sardonic for that.
Know,
she
she's
needs
great.
someone who, understands her heart.
And Tom King's the Vision. Made me cry like a baby.
Very good. Very
Hit me
good.
hard.
Should we talk about the dead metal elephant in the room?
Yes.
The dead metal elf, yeah.
Okay,
Moonshine! Oh no, it was a dead
We're all big fans of DC here at the Sidekick.
I'm so excited about this, the same way that I was excited when it first came out. I am excited.
Well, me too, but just...
I
remember our conversation when we saw this cover. Like, Batman has a scythe, and Superman has a rock arm, and I yell too much, I know.
She has a chainsaw of truth.
It's a laser chainsaw. Yeah, sorry. We gotta slow down.
Everyone.
Good luck starting from the beginning of this. All right, go ahead.
The new
pitch
DC
me
event.
the elevator pitch of death. Elevator pitch. You get like a line or two.
In one of the last 8 multiverses, the Batman Who Laughs reigns supreme over the remainder of the Justice League and every Bat person who is evil who ever existed in any universe.
What's a bat person?
Or Bat dinosaur. So in every universe in the multiverse that ever existed that had an evil bat thing, or human, or anything.
Is this a direct sequel to Dark Knight's Metal?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't
And
read all
a
of Dark
direct
Knight's Metal.
sequel to that weird Watchmen crossover.
Oh yeah, because the
Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock. So this is a tie-in to both DC Metal and Doomsday Clock.
I feel like there's a bit of The Last Night on Earth in there too.
Yes.
It's
all canon.
It's like.
But like, how dare they call this number 1 of anything? Like
This is not a number 1 of anything.
You need to have like a thick encyclopedic knowledge of just DC in general to understand.
But not even just DC, but like specifically the last 2 or 3 years of really edgy DC multiverse.
But you also have to pick up all that crap too.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot of stuff.
I feel like if you have core knowledge of like, you know what's happening right now, Batman and Detective Comics and Action Comics and Superman, and I feel like they would not inform us.
No, it doesn't matter for this. Because
Just-
it's not tied to any of the regular arcs. This exists in its own weird universe where now the Batman Who Laughs is trying to destroy every other universe with what is essentially like...
There's a Batman Cthulhu, there's a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's...
I did like Cthulhu wearing a Batman mask. That was...
It's Bat-Homet.
Oh, Batman.
Our first walkout. You saw it here,
Yes.
folks.
There's a Batman dinosaur that has his Batman eyes.
Oh yeah, but also it's like the batarang like painted around it, and it's
Okay.
like it's.
But
Yes.
like there's no beginning, middle, end to scenes in this, and that was my big issue with whatever Metal when it came out, DC's Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's never a scene where like someone's sitting in a chair and someone walks in like, oh hey Bruce, I was going on pretty good, I was working on it. Like that never happens. It just you jump in,
Throws you into the apocalypse.
throws you in like it's all just yelling into a wind fan. Like everyone's just like, we gotta get we gotta seek the synchronicity of the transcendent of the universe. So there's gonna be more Batman, and then there's gonna be one who laughs, and there's gonna be a Joker, and 6 more punchlines, and we're gonna go back to the Cretaceous period and find out that our grandmothers are actually robots. Like all the dialogue sounds like that to me.
I agree, and it's funny. Whereas Wonder Woman Dead Earth has like post-apocalyptic DC universe where it's really self-contained,
But
and then this
yeah.
is post-apocalyptic DC universe, and you need so much prior knowledge to grasp it. But at the same time, it just vomits so much exposition at you. It's like you need to have read all these books, but we're also going to tell you kind of what happened in all these books anyway.
Yeah, no one's asked a question. No one's like, hello, what are we doing? Why are we here? Like no one.
It always, like Last Night on Earth was like this. I presume Metal was like this. I didn't read it. Where it like tosses you into the apocalypse, and like halfway through the issue, or like 3 issues in, they're like, oh, by the way, here's how this apocalypse happened. Here's 2 double spreads of me telling you.
Yeah.
Yes.
With like dark images in the
Though
background.
apparently we don't care about like the actual medals from Metal because they don't make appearances in this.
Wait,
Were there
There
medals
were
in it?
special medals that
Oh.
now don't exist. It's okay. We don't need them.
Also, I feel that definitely in the superhero movies, but I think generally in superhero comics as well, there's starting to be less of like, I'm the good guy and I'm everything good. I'm the evil guy and I want darkness. And then they fight and then the good guy wins, right? It's becoming a little more popular to blur those
Thanos
lines,
was
right?
like, hey, I want to balance the universe. Is everything shit?
This is fully.
This is like, there's full, like I said, dual page explanation, origins of the universe of them saying like, here are all the evil and dark forces that work to destroy. Here are all the light-giving forces that work for good. You are for the good, the bad guys are for the evil. Like, it's just, it's so boring.
But it's narrated by Wally West. Or whatever.
I don't know.
That's
He
true.
wasn't he the bad guy in Heroes in Crisis or something? Is that what we're supposed to care?
He's not.
But
And Dr. Manhattan.
no, but it's actually Bruce Wayne, not Dr. Manhattan. It's the last Bruce Wayne, but he's blue and he's.
If you liked Metal, it's more of that.
We are not the target audience for this book.
We
That is
do not get to see Superman and his rock arm.
no. That's my big complaint.
Which is sad.
Batman didn't have a scythe.
He was on Apocalypse and we didn't get to see him.
But he did raise the dead, and Lobo's going to show up too.
And Wonder Woman smelted down the invisible jet and turned it into a chainsaw.
I just can't-
Chainsaw of Truth.
This is just needs to be a '90s crossover drawn by Rob Liefeld. That's the only way it would for me
but
to
then
be like,
he wouldn't
okay.
have feet.
But then I would be like, okay, I understand how this exists. If this was just like guys punching each other and it had a date of the '90s, then I'm like, okay, I see why this exists. But this going out now is like,
I mean, it's much prettier.
Looks way
it's a
better.
nice hollow cover.
Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever. Remember when that came out?
Yeah, but now there's only 8.
I know. That's what.
They're calling them the crisis powers and the anti-crisis powers.
But I remember reading.
And in order to continue, they have to keep all the original heroes alive to keep the crisis energy.
But I remember when the crisis happened, I was like, this is way too convoluted and insane. I don't understand anything. I feel like I can wrap my head around that now, compared.
It all seems like a metaphor for the dying. Like, it's like, we need to keep the original superheroes alive for the crises. Versus like, we need to keep making more Batman and Superman books or people won't. Like, we can't have other characters,
comics.
we gotta have these. And, like, literally, I read that whole, like, 2-page explanation of, like, them talking about the New 52 and them talking about preserving the crisis memories as... It's just all very thinly veiled. Like, we gotta keep rebooting the comic universe and using the same characters, or...
We gotta keep you guys knowing about all the universes, because if you don't, what was the point of reading all those comics? Hey!
We're running out of time, so Chris, what's Against Hope about?
Woo! A girl who's traumatized and whose family was killed hunts down and kills Nazis.
That sounds pretty good.
It was great.
How's the art look? It's a hardcover.
So pretty.
It really looks neat.
Yeah.
It's by the, remember that Mads Mikkelsen, like, John Wick rip-off movie that came on Netflix where he's got the laser pointer gloves? Polar, yeah. So that movie was based on a webcomic that was also by this guy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. Gideon Falls, you read the new one. How'd that go? Jeff Lemire.
The new single issues, so I'm reading it in single issues. I always find it a very satisfying 25-page horror snack. I know Harrison prefers to read them in trade.
I just have a short attention span and shitty memory.
And yes, they always end kind of suspensefully, so I think a lot of people prefer to read them in trade, but we got the next single issue and we also got the trade this week, so that's pretty exciting. Jay, Moonshine Volume 3 came out.
Moonshine! Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Riso are back. And if you don't like 100 Bullets, it doesn't matter because it doesn't have anything to do with 100 Bullets. It's Moonshine!
It has...
1920s gangsters boiling up some moonshine in bathtubs, and they also have a werewolf problem.
It's like it's like Rednecks, or it's like the sort of things where it's like, oh, they came up with the title and then wrote a story around it. Like Moonshine, bathtub liquor, and werewolves. Rednecks is Southern vampires.
I really like the
art. It has a similar culty.
Yeah, I really like the time period they picked. I love Edo Russo's art. I like Brian Azzarello's snappy dialogue when it's in like the crime-ridden noir is.
No,
great.
You know what? This made me fully take back what I said last week, which was that Brian Azzarello hasn't written anything that I've liked in like 8 years.
Yeah.
Not true. He's writing this and I love it.
It's fucking great. Yeah. And also like the color palette is really cool in this now.
Super cool.
It reminds me of art in the old guard a little bit.
Yeah.
But instead of like harsh primary colors, it's all like subdued warms and cools. Because like there's still hard shadows, but it's not like
it's
insane.
Hard blacks and then like pastel colors, which is nice.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like anything they've done before. So that's cool. Anyway, thank you guys for listening or watching.
This Week in Comics.
Go read some comics.
Or Berserk. You can say it. Sign off. Quick, go. Last sign off ever. Apocalypse is on Wednesday.
Join us next week when we'll have 3D holographic comics.
3D holographic comics, Chris. Oh my god. That move. We call them...
The moving pictures.
Thanks for listening.
Wednesday